Rook here, bringing you all the new abilities, updates, and changes coming to Astrologian in Final Fantasy XIV's next expansion, Endwalker. A huge thank you to Square Enix for letting me try out our new job gameplay during the 2021 Media Tour this year. And a reminder, all footage and information is not final and may be subject to change. This is especially true for jobs, which are additionally affected by the downscaling of the game's numerical quantities. So don't panic, it's gonna be fine, everybody. It's hard to get a real sense of how these all come together without playing them in-game within the context of our new content and scaling. What's new for Ast? Astrologian had major reworks overall to fit into the pure healer category. Its job gauge has been expanded to show Lord and Lady cards. It now also has 2 charges of Celestial Intersection, 2 charges of Draw. Executing Draw will now immediately apply an effect allowing you to redraw. And the abilities Astrologian, Crown Play, an upgrade of Malefic called Fall Malefic, Gravity's upgrade, Gravity 2, and Exaltation have all been added, as well as the new capstone ability Macro Cosmos. Let's get down to the details. If you'd like a more general summary of what's changed, skip ahead. The abilities listed on the screen remain unchanged in potency. The following abilities have been removed: Diurnal and Nocturnal Sects, and Sleeve Draw. Now to our changes. Benefic's potency has been increased from 400 to 500, a 25% buff. Helios's potency has also been increased from 330 to 400, a 21% buff. On top of that, Benefic 2 has been increased from 700 to 800, a 14% buff. The draw ability has also been changed slightly. It will still draw a card known as an Arcanum from your divining deck. Only 1 Arcanum can be drawn at a time. However, the additional effect has been nerfed slightly, restoring only 5% of maximum MP. Draw will now have a secondary additional effect, which is that it will grant Clarifying Draw, allowing the execution of the ability Redraw. Draw now also has 2 charges. In essence, Draw will restore less MP now, but immediately allow you to redraw, and has 2 charges. Play remains the same, but it now only and specifically applies to your major arcana. Aspected Benefic has been buffed, going from 200 potency to 250, a 25% increase. Likewise, the additional effect on Aspected Benefic, Regen, which is now just a built-in part of the class drawn from the Diurnal sect, has been increased from 1000 to 1250, a 25% buff. As mentioned before, Redraw now procs off of Draw, allowing you to draw a different Arcanum from your deck, but only while under the effect of Clarifying Draw, which is placed on you by the Draw ability. Aspected Helios has been buffed from 200 to 250, a 25% increase. Its additional effect, Regen, has similarly been buffed from 500 to 750, which is a 50% buff. Gravity has undergone some interesting changes to make way for its evolution. Base Gravity has been reduced in potency from 140 to 120, a 14% nerf. Divination has been disconnected from the seals, now known as Astro Signs, and instead increases damage dealt by self and party members by 6%. Astrologian, a new self-buff, makes use of the seals, now renamed Astro Signs. This ability will grant you an effect using the Astro Signs read from your divining deck, and can only be executed after reading 3 Astro Signs. The effects granted are determined by the number of different types of Astro Signs read. 1 sign type will grant the buff Harmony of Spirit, which will gradually restore your MP with a potency of 60. 2 signs will grant Harmony of Spirit and Body. Harmony of Body reduces spell cast time and recast time and auto attack delay by 10%. 3 different sign types will grant Harmony of Spirit, Body, and Mind. Duration of 15 seconds. Harmony of Mind, in addition to the other buffs, increases damage dealt and healing potency by 5%. Both of Earthly Star's damage effects have been buffed. Stellar Burst has been increased from 100 to 240, a 140% buff. Stellar Explosion has been increased from 150 to 320, a 113% buff. Like many other of Astrologian's abilities, Minor Arcana has been reworked. Now it will draw either the Lord of Crowns or the Lady of Crowns from your divining deck. The Arcanum effect can be triggered using the special action Crown Play, and this can only be executed while in combat. The Lord of Crowns card will now deal unaspected damage with a potency of 250 to all nearby enemies, while the Lady of Crowns card will restore own HP and the HP of all nearby party members with a cure potency of 400. As mentioned, either of these cards can be played using the ability Crown Play. Neutral Sect does still exist, and now it increases healing magic potency by 20% for a duration of 20 seconds. It has an additional effect when casting Aspected Benefic or Aspected Helios, which is that it will erect a magic barrier which nullifies damage. Aspected Benefic's effect is that it will nullify damage equaling 250% of the amount of HP restored. Aspected Helios' effect nullifies damage equaling 125% of the amount of HP restored, duration 20 seconds. All of this to say, Neutral Sect is actually the exact same as it was when Diurnal Nocturnal was a thing. Just now you can use it as a technically pure healer diurnal user. Gravity 2 actually does less than current Gravity 1 does. Its potency is 130, but this is likely to make way for the new capstone ability. Exaltation is the new single target buff being given to Astrologian. It reduces damage taken by self or target party member by 10%. The duration is 8 seconds, and it has an additional effect that restores HP at the end of the effect's duration, for a cure potency of 500. Macrocosmos is the new capstone ability coming for Astrologian. It deals unaspected damage to all nearby enemies with a potency of 250 for the first enemy, and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Its additional effect is that it grants Macrocosmos to self and all nearby party members, with a duration of 15 seconds. This action changes to Microcosmos upon execution. For the Macrocosmos' effect's duration, 50% of all damage taken is compiled. It then restores HP equal to compiled damage when the effect expires, or upon the execution of Microcosmos. The amount restored cannot exceed the target's maximum HP. Overall, how is Astrologian looking then? Having the numbers is great and all, but I'm sure many of you are wondering, what does it mean? Keeping in mind that we can't get a full grasp on this until we can play with all the downscaling potencies, it's easy to tentatively say that, like White Mage, it's had almost all of its healing and heal over time abilities buffed. Seals have been renamed Astro Signs and are only required for the new ability Astrodyne. Divination no longer uses these signs, and is just a flat 6% damage buff to party members. Minor Arcana now only draws Lord or Lady, and is played using a separate ability. Lord and Lady have different effects, giving you an extra AoE damage and extra AoE heals. Earthly Stars damage was buffed significantly, making an already powerful ability all the more powerful, if you can get your allies to stand in it. Neutral Sect is actually the same as it was. It still applies heal over time and gives shields. Fall Malefic does the same amount as current Malefic, but is the next tier of the ability, and Gravity 2 does less than current Gravity, but Astrologian is also getting 2 new AoEs in the form of the Lord card and Macrocosmos. The good news is, Astrologian took very few nerfs and is looking stronger than ever. But what this means for its counterpart White Mage that's now sharing the same pure healing category, I guess we'll have to see. But Astrologian wasn't the only job I was able to play. Find my 9 other job summaries here on YouTube, including the Summoner rework and our new classes Reaper and Sage. If you're interested in lore, give my Old Charlie and Garlemald and Thavnair tour videos a watch to get a sneak peek into the meanings behind our new maps. And of course, where would we be without content and glamour? New dungeon info and artifact gear previews are also on that list. Try out Astrologian for yourself in Final Fantasy XIV's upcoming expansion, Endwalker, releasing November 23rd, 2021, with early access starting November 19th.